really hard sometimes. But that's just when the experience of the staff at New Haven Funeral Home can demonstrate their compassion and help to guide your family through the difficult time. So in your time of loss, call the New Haven Funeral Home at 457-1830 or 458-1467 or email newhavenfuneralhome@gmail.com. New Haven Funeral Home, SVG's preferred funeral home.
The death is announced of Adolphus Benjamin Williams, also known as Ben of McCarthy, who passed away on September 4th at the age of 81. Surviving relatives: 10 children: Eli Gould, Winston Coffey, Colin Coffey, Sebastian Coffey, Samuel Coffey, Sally Ann Coffey, Rosamond Matthews, Arlene Bird, Samantha Neverson, and Cheryl Cyrus. 27 grandchildren, 12 great-grandchildren, 1 sister, many relatives and friends. The funeral service for the late Adolphus Benjamin Williams, also known as Ben, will take place on October 18th at the Enhams Church of the Nazarene. Viewing begins at 1 p.m. Funeral service begins at 2 p.m. Burial at the Brighton Cemetery. The death is announced of Ricardo Oliver of Langley Park, Georgetown, who passed away on September 22nd at the age of 85. Surviving relatives: wife Norma Oliver, 7 children: Anne, Susan, Tyrone, Miguel Oliver, Deborah Oliver, Chang, Harriet, Oliver Grimshaw, and Siobhan Bailey. 18 grandchildren, 8 great-grandchildren, 1 sister, sons-in-law: Christopher Bailey, Eric Grimshaw, and Wang Chang. Many relatives and friends. The funeral service for the late Ricardo Oliver will take place on October 18th at the Berean Baptist Church. Viewing begins at 1 p.m. Funeral service begins at 2 p.m. Burial at the Chile Cemetery. The white van HX238 will transport passengers from Kingstown and back. Color: lilac or purple. The death is announced of Godfred Joseph of Calder Village, who passed away on October 7th at the age of 91. Surviving relatives: 3 children: Simone, Cynthia, and Fuzzy. 13 grandchildren, 7 great-grandchildren, many relatives and friends. The funeral service for the late Godfred Joseph will take place on October 18th at the Mount Coke Methodist Church at Stubbs. Viewing begins at 12 p.m. Funeral service begins at 1 p.m. Burial at the Stubbs Cemetery. The death is announced of Mrs. Pearl Estelita Peters Ben of Port Elizabeth Beckway, who passed away on September 7th at the age of 101. Surviving relatives: 7 children: Macaulay, Danella, Jacqueline, Kevin, Jennifer, Crispin, and Anthony. 9 grandchildren, 6 great-grandchildren, 1 sister, many relatives and friends. The funeral service for the late Mrs. Pearl Estelita Peters Ben will take place on October 18th at the St. Mary's Anglican Church, Port Elizabeth, Beckway. Viewing begins at 10 a.m. Burial at the Port Elizabeth Cemetery. The death is announced of Beverly Goodluck of Caliacqua, who passed away on October 4th at the age of 59. Surviving relatives: one brother, four sisters, two adopted sisters, Mechka and Cecilia, many nieces and nephews, other relatives and friends. The funeral service for the late Beverly Goodluck will take place on October 23rd at the St. Paul's Anglican Church at Caliacqua. Funeral service begins at 10 a.m. Burial at the Churchyard Cemetery. The death is announced of Marlene Elsita Young, also known as Nana and Tanti Marlene of Leyu, who passed away on September 29th at the age of 74. Surviving relatives: husband Crawford Young, also known as Brother Young, one brother, two sisters, many relatives and friends. The funeral service for the late Marlene Elsita Young, also known as Nana and Tanti Marlene, will take place on October 31st at the St. James Anglican Church at Leyu. Viewing begins at 12 p.m. Funeral service begins at 1 p.m. Burial at the Leyu Cemetery. The death is announced of Wilfred King, also known as Gov, of the UK, formerly of Dr. Smith Parkhill, who passed away on September 26th at the age of 86. Surviving relatives: one child, Burks James in Philadelphia, three brothers, one sister, many relatives and friends. The funeral arrangements for the late Wilfred King, also known as Gov, will be heard in a subsequent announcement. Today's obituaries came to you with the kind compliments of the New Haven Funeral Home. We FM and the New Haven Funeral Home extend condolences to the bereaved.
Death is a fact of life. Even though death is a fact of life, that doesn't make it any easier. When dealing with the loss of a loved one, you may try to be strong, but it's really hard sometimes. But that's just when the experience of the staff at New Haven Funeral Home can demonstrate their compassion and help to guide your family through the difficult time. So in your time of loss, call the New Haven Funeral Home at 457-1830 or 458-1467 or email newhavenfuneralhome@gmail.com. New Haven Funeral Home, SVG's preferred funeral home.